Clark and Perry.
In the place.
Clark and Perry. Do what it takes. Clark and Perry invite you to stay.
And explore the artistry in everything, live, on location alongside the Windy City's finest. Produced with the support of TELUS Story Hive, available on YouTube and TELUS Optic TV on demand for a limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome once again to the Windy City's finest. I'm Perry, he's Clark, and we are joined today by...
Lint, Artistic Director of Haptic Dance Arts.
Yes, thank you so much for joining with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for tuning in, be it on the live stream or otherwise. And yeah, we're just going to dive into the interview here. But my first question is, what does haptic mean?
It's a pretty common question for a lot of people. Haptic pertains to the sense of touch. So it's from the Greek word haptikos. And I found it in a game years ago, and the word always stuck with me.
Yeah.
And a large part of it was just that it is a word you don't hear a lot.
Totally.
And so it stuck with me. And when I was looking to open my own business and start my own studio, I kind of went through the whole gamut of what to call it. And there's, the options are endless. And so I kind of came back to this word in the sense of touch and how that literal sense of touch, and started looking into it, and there was actually some haptic connections with dance as far as like touch. The students touch the floor, they touch the bar, teachers touch the students with, corrections, hands-on corrections, and then inevitably there's that indirect touch to an audience when you take your dancer and you put them on stage through performance. And so I wanted to have a name that caused people this moment of like, what? Like this moment of inquisition, because as a dancer, as an artist, you should always be curious. You should always be asking questions. You should always be sort of reaching out beyond. And so I thought it would be really neat to have a name that started with a question. People were like, well, what is haptic,
to engage that curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. And so it started connecting on all these different levels. And then as I started sort of looking into branding and trademarking, what have you, I realized that haptic technology is actually in your cell phone. And so every day people are utilizing, not everybody if you don't use smartphones, but touch screens are actually a component of haptic technology, because it's that sense of touch. And so then my mind was like, bam, it's a winner, because we're surrounded by haptic all the time without even knowing what it is. So yeah.
Wow. I don't think I was expecting like that much of like an answer to be like that prevalent, like the meaning of it be that prevalent. That's amazing. That's awesome.
It's pretty cool, and it just continued to unfold kind of as I kept diving into it, and that sense of unfolding is something that I just love, when things unfold and then continue to unfold. And so it kind of just stuck, and so far it's been great for the studio.
That's awesome. And you mentioned you first encountered it through a game. Do you remember what game?
Oh my gosh. I actually think it was like Balderdash.
Okay.
Maybe. And the question was like, what does haptic, or what's the definition of haptic? And whoever I was playing with, everyone was like, nobody knows this. And it's not a game. It was years ago. I would venture to say I played this game in about 2009 when I first kind of heard that word. And we started the business, or I started the business in 2019. So it kind of lived in my brain and in a couple of notebooks for about 10 years before it sort of became something. Yeah, manifested and became something real.
Those are the best ideas, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Totally. Awesome. Thank you so much for that insight. And yeah, hopefully people learned what haptic means. But I think if we take a step back and we just go through some questions just to get to know you a bit better, the person behind the business. So our first question is just, what's your love language?
Oh my goodness. Cleanliness? Organization, cleanliness. I think when things are organized and tidy or straightforward, whether it's like tangible things, but also just like processes, like ABCD. I'm sure there's a name for that. I think order for me is probably my love language. But I'd also say touch. Like I'm a hugger.
That would make sense.
Through and through. With the name, I love big cozy bear hugs, and I think connection probably would be another love language, and I acknowledge that like some people's connection, they don't want me to touch them, so it's
For sure.
it's maybe through a phone call or connecting through a letter or a message or something like that. So several love languages.
Yeah. Oh, and I think
that's a complex question.
Yeah. No,
I think
for sure.
There's not a straightforward answer.
Yeah, and I think it's the same way for many people. But yeah, so it sounds like cleanliness or order, as you said, which is really interesting because I think when some people think of dance, they might think of like chaos because it's just movement, and unless you know like the techniques and everything, I feel like sometimes it can feel a bit chaotic when you don't know the reasoning behind stuff. But I don't know. So that was just an interesting thought.
Well,
I don't know if that.
Yeah, and I think it's a great point because dance starts pretty chaotic. I start working with students under the age of 3, and so
lots
like
of
their
energy.
lives are just a little bit chaos. They're developing and they're creating all these pathways in their minds and bodies. But then, so if you watch a 3-4 classroom, it can sometimes look just like chaos.
Totally.
But in actuality, there are all of these things, like all these checklists that I have as the facilitator and the educator, that things are kind of, I'm checking my list, even though it might look like chaos to the outside person. And there is order in dance. It's a discipline. And so yes, you can kind of just throw your body into it and do stuff. But if you really go into some of the core techniques of jazz and ballet and tap dance, there's all this structure to it, and it's very clear. And it starts with that foundation, and we build on that foundation. And so there's probably either I found that love of order from dance, or I found a love of dance because that order fed something that made my body feel really comfortable.
Totally.
I'm saying this is how you do something, and if you are like a little bit off, the specificity is so important. So if you're a little bit twisted or a little bit off, the whole step might not work. And it's very minor little movements that we can make and adjust in our bodies. So it probably is connected to that.
Yeah, and it sounds like also in there, hearing that sense of like, you do have a sense of autonomy in it. Because like you can make those adjustments, and you can like, you have control in some ways there.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. It's and that I talk to my dancers a lot about that. What are you thinking about? And sometimes the answers are hilarious because we're not thinking about what we should be thinking about. And as a dancer, multitasking through the body, your foot needs to do one thing, your leg is doing another, your hip is wrapping through another direction while standing tall, while relaxing the jaw, while smiling and presenting, all of those things. So there are these ongoing, you have to be fully aware of your body, fully in control, and then also just really present in the moment.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. I'll move on to the next question if that works.
Absolutely.
Our next question is, who has been a significant influence or role model in your life?
Oh, I have a handful of pretty awesome people who have held my hand or helped to kind of give me the nudge when I didn't have the confidence myself. And I think that those people would sort of be in different places. So I have a really good friend named Lori who was a huge confidant for me when I was in college. She supported me through college very well, and kind of just was the voice I needed to hear at that time. I love my friend Judy Dormer at Classique Dancewear because she is just a powerhouse businesswoman, and but also just so kind. And so she always enters your room with a huge smile and this lovely, warm, happy disposition. And I think even when I've seen certain things maybe go sideways or there's challenges that present for her, she's always done it with such grace. And so I hold her as one of my sort of key role model business mentors. And then I have a variety of dance mentors who have supported me over the years through my training. Nina Pavlova's one, Susan Hutchin is another facilitator, educator who just wrapped me up and loved me very much. Some people from college, Jacques Lemay. I feel like now I've started listing people, and I feel like I'm gonna miss a bunch of people who are really critical in sort of my development of pushing me outside of my boundaries, and helping me understand who I am, not only as a dancer, but as a physical mover and an artist and a performer. So lots of physical dance mentors or theater mentors as well. Terry Outré, who was a producer of shows that I worked in. So there's just, I think it's interesting with going back to connection is that I've always found these people who, even if our passing was brief or not as long, maybe they were in my life a little bit for a shorter window of time or because of significant place where I was living, I still hold them. I still have kind of that space in my heart because like, oh, I do certain things because of that person or because of how they guided me or directed me or pushed me or supported me. And so I could probably sit here and reflect all day and find more people who impacted me or role models.
Which is so beautiful that you can do that, right? And I'm very much the same way, and I feel very grateful that I've been impacted by so many people. I think that's awesome to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it also brought another interesting thing to mind. This idea of connection and being able to keep these people kind of with you in their lessons and your even if it was like a brief point in time. As a theater maker, sometimes we'll do a show, and then the show kind of stays with you. And so in the same way that these people have stayed with you, like is there any like shows that you've done that have stuck with you, or are you not like as
I would say just from some of the work that I've done, like shows will stick with you, right? Especially as a performer, whether you do a short run and you have 5 performances, or you do a longer stint and you're in it for 5 months, right? Like it depends the nature of the show, and I think those shows will kind of always live in your body somewhere. But I will say that there are I worked with New West Theatre a handful of times, and there were these like haunting songs where there would be a song you'd like never heard before, you'd heard once, and then you do this show and you hear these songs every day, and then the show closes and it's on the radio and it's in the grocery store and it's in the dentist's office. So I think sometimes like right out of it, there's like all of this, like this essence of like, remember, like it almost like follows you a little bit as you like close a show and you step away. It's like, I don't know, maybe because it's more relevant and you had just walked away from it, but I feel like there's always these like, oh, that, or you see the people that you worked with, or
it's that idea of
things
like
follow you a bit.
Yeah, things follow you. It's that idea of like, if you're looking for a yellow car, you'll see a yellow car. And because you're in a show and you're looking for these things, like you're more likely to see them,
or
like, even
find them
afterwards.
outside of it.
Interesting. Interesting. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Our next question for you is, what is a defining memory that shaped who you are today?
Oh, I have a few. I think one of the biggest ones was I was preparing for a ballet exam, a particularly hard. It was a hard ballet exam, and working really hard, wanted to succeed, and I failed.
Oh.
And it was, it wasn't a minor thing, and I was pretty broken by it. But it was interesting because my teacher, Nina, at the time, said, okay, well, let's do this again. Let's try again. And initially I was like, I don't want to try again. Like, maybe this isn't right. My body's not right. I don't fit. And she said, no, let's work again, try again, fix what we can fix.
That autonomy.
And then see what happens, knowing that it's not in your control.
Right.
What you can control is your process to get to that point.
Yeah.
And the person on the other side, that examiner, is going to either pass you or fail you, but it doesn't take away from the work that you're about to put in to better yourself from what you learned the last time. And so I went through, I prepared, fixed as much as I could, made things sharper, cleaner, however you want to look at it. And I ended up passing, like just passing, which was almost more incredible than doing it the first time, maybe, and getting the good mark. So I think it's pretty, it's common to hear like that, like the first time I remember not like placing in a dance solo as a competitive dancer and being like, what? And just feeling like something wasn't fair, but then also very quickly realizing, no, you don't get to win all the time.
Right.
And how do you pick yourself up when you fail? And it does, as an artist, I mean, there's just heaps of failure. That's why rejection and trying again. And I think that does the two things of, pushing you forward if you can be resilient in that way. But it also teaches you about yourself. Like, when you fail, and it's interesting because I had a teacher who used to say, like, flush the toilet. Go to an audition, you don't get the audition, who cares? But when you're done the audition, flush it down the toilet and let it go away. And don't think about it. And if you get the call, you get the call. And if you don't, you don't. And a part of that idea is supporting what you can control, which is how you present yourself and how you interact with people and what you leave behind. But you will, especially in this industry, it's so competitive. And so you always just have to, in a way, take it for a grain of salt. But if you need to go and like curl up and cry under a pillow for 5 days, that's also okay, right? So just like have those processes through your own failure and learn about how do you fail and how do you come back from failure, because everyone's going to interact with that experience for themselves differently. And so I found pretty quickly after that experience with the ballet exam that there's so much that's out of my control. And so if I can lean in and focus on what's in my control, then at the end of the day, I'm going to be pretty happy knowing that these opportunities are coming up, they're missed, you know, I don't make them, whichever, but if I'm putting myself out there, I'm winning.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. There was something in there about, I love this. First of all, I love that metaphor of like flushing the toilet and
it was great.
You know, just
Iris
kind of letting it go.
Bannerman. She was one of my theater teachers, my acting teachers.
And that's actually where my connection came from for it. Was just in theater. I remember hearing from one of my professors, like, if you don't get the role, it's not because you're not good enough. It's just that if you had gotten it, like, it might not have been the best experience because they needed somebody else. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's just accepting that. Or you wore the wrong shirt. You wore their not favorite color that day, and they didn't even deliberately make that decision. For sure.
And that's kind of the funny thing when you put yourself out for evaluation. Yes, you could have a piece of paper where you're like, we need these 6 things, right? But, you know, for an actor, it's because your hair was blonde and they were looking for a brunette, or the other people in that cast made that you were the better person or the right person, but the rest of the cast needed that, right?
Totally,
so you have to just sort of let it fly away, like fall off, fall away from you.
Like water off a duck's back. Is that the phrase?
I like it. I don't know if I've heard it before.
I think that's a phrase. I don't know. But anyway, right on. Anything else to add?
No, I don't think
so. Well, we will let that conversation off our back like a duck. Water off a duck. Anyway. Our next question is, what do people learn about you with time?
Oh gosh, I am pretty silly. I think I fall into the class of one of those introverted extroverts.
For sure.
Where I am very like introverted and I really appreciate my alone time, but if you put me in a room with 500 people, I do a pretty good job of just moving around. I like people in calculated amounts.
For sure.
But no, I definitely am silly. I'm kind of like a child. I love being barefoot. I love being grounded, like sitting on the ground. I often choose the ground over
Me too.
over a chair. And I think the other, like I really try and have as much fun as possible in this life that we're given. Sometimes it's more brief for others than it is for ourselves, or you don't know how much time you get. And so I think I just try and approach every situation with a healthy amount of optimism. I'm an eternal optimist, but healthy amounts of optimism is important because it's the balance of both sides.
Totally.
Yeah.
You say you're silly and whatnot, and but what that speaks to for me, based on our conversation so far, is just that idea of curiosity as well. So you're like a child, but it's like curiosity, I think, that is maybe just shining through.
Maybe,
I think that's beautiful. So, and then also you had mentioned eternal optimist. Where do you think that comes from, if anywhere, if you can place it?
You know what, if I had to place it, I think I was just a happy kid. Like I think, it was a part of my disposition, but I think a large part of it too is like the support systems I have to allow me to identify when something is not great and not wallow.
For sure.
Like I applaud my parents for who they encouraged me to be, because life is hard and it throws curveballs, and often usually you're not ready for the curveball, but it's how you sort of pick yourself up. It's that idea of like, I've failed, how do I pick myself up? As opposed to like, I failed and I'm gonna lay here and everything's horrible and there's nothing to look forward to. Like I truly believe there's always someone who's looking out for you. There's always a step forward. And in many ways it's easier said than done. But
Totally.
yeah, I also just always remember being a pretty happy person. And a large part of it, like I love just the intricate moments of life, you know, like I love bugs and insects and being in the garden and like stuff like that, because it slows you down, and just like the beauty of all the small things, and just really appreciating nature allows you to slow down. And so finding those appreciations in small moments. I'm like really rambling now about like the actual question, but I think a part of it is I'm not in a rush to get anywhere.
Totally.
Which is interesting as a business owner.
Totally.
Because like life pushes you forward whether you like it or not. But I've always I believe in kind of like things blooming in their own time and watering and feeding and like encouraging. But there's not that urgency. Like I've never felt like I'm behind, or I've like always like just been like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So just being really grateful for where you are every day and knowing that that's the right step forward. I think that presence, maybe that's what it is. Being present allows you to really have more optimism, because. Yeah.
And no, this is great. You're doing
you're
great.
opening up a really big conversation, and like I'm gonna go away and think about this somewhere.
Yeah,
maybe.
Absolutely. And like it's kind of I've heard it talked about in like I think the phrase goes like, it's like depression is living in the past and anxiety is living in the future. And so it sounds like you're able, based on your support systems and your upbringing, to really just find that present place where you're not in the future or the past.
My mom always says, how do you eat an elephant? But how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time?
Yes!
Not at all? Is that the right answer?
Yes, that's the right answer. But so like when something is like so overwhelming and you're like stuck in this moment, you're just like, like what do I do? Her voice is like embedded in my head at this point now, but it's such a good thought. Like, how do you? If that was standing in front of you, we're not eating elephants, but if that was standing in front of you, like, what would you do? One step at a time. Let's start with just, what can you handle today? And so that perspective really has stuck with me, because it's like, we are not here to battle this all. We are here to do this one little thing today. And if you can accomplish that one thing, whether it's making the bed or like getting the load of laundry done, or, you know, as an artist, as a dancer, like getting to the studio. Right? Just get into the studio. Sometimes you're not accomplishing anything other than showing up for yourself and being there.
And that's like you said, with the auditioning, you put yourself out there, you're winning.
Yeah.
You know, so if you get to the studio, if you do that one thing, you're ahead. You know,
exactly.
Like, ahead. You're in place.
Yeah.
Present.
But then ahead, because you've taken that step, right? And made that cognitive choice to be there. Yeah.
Right on. Cool. Awesome. Our next question for you is, what's a unique experience and or adventure you've been part of?
That would definitely be my time spent in Dawson City, Yukon.
Okay.
Working as a can-can dancer at Canada's oldest casino, Diamond Tooth Gertie's. I was able to do 3 seasons up there. And it's, Diamond Tooth Gertie's is sort of like, it's like the hype of the town. It's this casino. They have 3 shows a day, can-can dancing. It's like walking back in time. Boardwalk, dirt roads, all these old buildings. And one of the gigs, they wanted us to go do like a appearance at an event at the golf course between shows. And so in order for us to get across the river to the golf course, they flew us over in a helicopter. And so for little old me, I was like, in a helicopter, all dressed up, went for my photo shoot, jumped back in the helicopter. They got us back to the casino and we did the 10:30 show. It was magic. So
that's amazing.
And the work, people filter in kind of from all over the world. So meeting people from literally all over the world. And then just being in this gem of a place in Canada that I didn't realize existed before I got the job. And the connections that I made with some of the people who were working there or who are now still there. It's a beautiful place. The job was incredible, and I've been in a helicopter flown in a
Nice.
helicopter for
Yeah.
work. So that definitely was a highlight, and I hold a lot of fond memories of my time working up there.
Right on. Cool. Awesome. I don't know if I have any other like questions on that. I think that just sounds like an awesome experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you're
That's
gonna go to the Yukon.
Yeah, maybe at some point.
Get there.
Hopefully, yeah. Yeah. Cool. Our next question for you is let me just find it. Here's a good one. So how do you cope when the going gets tough?
I eat candy.
Oh yeah.
I do. I love candy.
Nice.
No, I talk to people.
Mm.
Like I usually reach out really quickly. I call my mom.
Yeah.
She's
Nice.
usually my first phone call, or my husband. But I lean into the people who I know will give me sage advice and who will give me hard advice.
For
Because
sure.
sometimes when things get hard, you're like, oh, I just need to hear like the easy answer.
For sure.
I write a lot,
Okay.
and it's not like it's just like I do lots of stream of
Stream of
conscious.
thought, yeah.
Just like get it out of my head. Because there's often a lot of noise where you're like, what's actually the problem? And then you kind of start to create more problems around the actual root of the problem.
Totally. Yeah.
So big things. And then also wearing different hats and saying, okay, like, do I have time to worry about this right now? I have 2 kids. I run a business. I have to take care of myself. I have to take care of my family. And so I think it's also really, I've learned as I've gotten older to carve out the time for worry, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I don't have time to worry about this. It's not that it's not a problem,
Totally.
but I'm gonna go and have dinner and be present and enjoy dinner because that problem is still gonna be there when I get back.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Unless it's something imminent and you have to address it right away.
Sure.
But I also have a lovely saying that's, or someone said it at some point, but I also, it's like there's nothing a good night's sleep won't fix. And so also I think it's important when you're approached with certain things or you have these barriers or you have these challenges or these problems or these issues, it's like this doesn't need to be fixed right away. Like what will I learn from stepping back, sleeping on it?
Totally.
What will be my perspective? And I'm a wildly emotional person. I live with my heart on my sleeve. I love to cry. Like I lean into tears and hysteria and crying and all of that. But what I've learned as well is that it's good to let yourself have an emotional reaction before you react.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Like actually react and interact with the problem or the person or the thing. I think it's really important to try and separate, because I'm so emotional, separate that emotion. So let myself have the emotional response, call my husband, call my mom, cry, do whatever needs to. I'm just assuming whatever you suggested, these challenges is very horrible. And then from there, kind of, I think then things can be more clear because you've given yourself that time to feel it. And then now it's like, okay, now how do I work through this? How do I actually approach it without just feeling anxious or upset or...
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if, because as a dancer, I'm assuming, your body is part of your tools kit.
It sure is.
And so it sounds like that's kind of your process is like, you feel it, you let your body do its thing. And I'm curious if that is one of your boons, as it were, like it's one of your, tools like at your disposal.
Yeah, well, and I think as a dancer, like this is an interesting thing, and you'd find it as an actor as well. Our bodies is our tool, and we need it. But like everybody, whether you work an office job or right, like wherever you work, your body is your tool. But for us, it's our instrument as well, right? So every day you wake up, you're going to feel different, right? Based on like the day before, the night's sleep, what you ate, what you like certain everything's always changing how you're feeling. And as a dancer, you always have to come to the studio or show up and be mindful and aware of kind of like, oh, my hip's feeling off, or like my knees acting funny, or I like my energy is like 50% today. And depending on where you're at in your process, if you're showing up to class, like I always say to my students, like just do the best you can today. You've walked through the door, you've put on the clothes, give me your 100% of today. And maybe it feels like 50% of what you have, like you're at 50%, but give me 100% of 50, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I mean, I've danced on stage where, you know, I'm dancing through an injury, like working through injury, but on contract, and you have to still go through it, and working through it and understanding the audience needs to see 100%. They don't need to know that you're at 80%.
No,
they need to experience 100%. And so really being able to check in with yourself and with your body and kind of compartmentalize, like what's the leading factor today, like what's the most uncomfortable, because I will be honest, like most dancers wake up uncomfortable and in pain and discomfort. Actually, I shouldn't say pain, because we do address that a lot in the studio, where it's like there's a difference between discomfort and pain. And we, like, when stretching students and stretching with students, we never want them to be in pain. We don't want to hurt you.
For sure.
But you have to get uncomfortable to grow, to stretch, to be better. And so it's about teaching the individual, yes, your body's telling you it's pain, but that's actually discomfort.
For me, it's like like I'm trying to make more of a habit of stretching. And yeah, like it is uncomfortable, but I know afterwards it's gonna feel amazing. Like
and you will proceed from there. And so I always think, like, next time you're like, oh, I don't want to stretch, like think of like a spider that like has that exoskeleton, and they like have to like shake out of their their skin. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a process, and it takes time, and it's not comfortable, but you have to let it go. Like, you have to get through it. And so when you're and that now that spider is different. It's like, let that go, or like a snake. I don't know. Like, I think of it that way sometimes, where it's like you have to get through it and let go of what you hold on to. And sometimes dancers do get stuck. They're like, oh, my right leg just doesn't feel right, or like I've got this problem in my shoulder. Okay, how do you dance with that problem in your shoulder and make it look like there isn't a problem in your shoulder? Right? How do you dance to your range of motion, or to your ability? Like, how do you still do this fully without it being
100%
fully?
of your 50% or 25,
but like, you have to push through discomfort, not pain, but discomfort, in order to grow and to get more stretchy, or, you know, like for a vocalist, like a singer, like you have to stretch your range. Like, you don't, right? You're not like, oh, I'm just never going to get up there. No, you have to teach your body how to do it. And is it going to sound horrible the first 5 times you try and hit the high C? Yes. It's not going to sound good. And that's the same with dance. It's not going to look good the first 45 times you do it, which is why it's a practice. It's a discipline. You have to show up and come back time and time again.
Interesting. Very cool. Very cool. Nice. Our next question is the complete flippity flop of that, and it's, you know, what do you do when things are running smoothly? How do you celebrate when life is smooth?
A really good dinner, going out for dinner, reaching out to friends, kind of the same thing, leaning into those people that I want to celebrate me. Talking about it, writing about it, writing about what's working, and then I have a reference to go back and say, like, oh, this is what was happening at the time, and that's why it was going well, potentially. But yeah, also just relishing and sitting back and going, oh wow, it's working. Like, this is working. And I think celebrating your wins is really important, right?
Even the small ones.
Even the small ones, because sometimes we get so focused on a goal, and it's like, okay, but that goal, you need to do these 10 things to get there. And if you accomplish this one thing, and it's a big step, but you're just so hyper-focused over here, then you're never going to make it over there, because you're not taking the time to be like, okay, I'm getting there, right? And it's, so having that forward thinking, but then also just being really grateful for that moment. So once again, it comes back to presence.
Presence,
right?
absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome. Nice. And then our next question for you is, what are your hobbies and interests outside of work or work?
Yeah, we touched on this, and I think, like, for me, I love being outside in nature. Like, I love exploring the coulees when we can. I love gardening, and just like poking around in the garden. I'm just fascinated by nature, like by growth, by plants. Like, the world doesn't need us. And
For
so,
sure,
so I'm just humbled by how it moves forward. So just being outside, I love spending time with my family. Business and my work consumes me at times. So curling up and watching a movie with my whole family and having that nice time away. I love camping too. Like I love getting off the radar
Yeah.
where I can't have my phone or internet or anything. I love being
Yeah.
out of service and just being able to quiet everything as well.
Totally.
Yeah, those are kind of my hobbies, getting outside, walking with my dog.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And yeah, it just sounds like, I mean, you've mentioned nature a few times now, and
Mhm.
sounds
Yeah.
like it's one of those, for lack of a better word, like tools to get present again. And, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and I'm like a 90s kid. Like I grew up mainly in the 90s, and I think that was also at a time when we had a TV and we watched TV, but we were also like kicked out of the house at 9 a.m. and like called back in for dinner. Like it was at a really like we spent a lot of time outside as kids. And so with that, like stemming back or like reaching back to like the curiosity, like being curious, just like the world is your oyster, being outside, finding things. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. Anything else to add on that? Or not really?
I don't think so.
That's
I feel
okay,
like we didn't talk a whole lot about dance, but maybe that's because we're gonna do some
We're
dancing.
gonna do dancing soon. Yeah. But I think our last question potentially for you is what are your future aspirations and goals?
Future aspirations and goals. Well, one of the goals that I have, or I don't know if it's an aspiration or a goal, but it's just I would love to be able to just dance for the rest of my life. You know, I am very aware that my body is my instrument and my tool, and so I really hope that I can move as long as my body will let me, because it's really a way that my heart and my spirit and my soul are fed that way. So just health is a goal.
For sure, that's a solid goal.
Yeah, and then growing my business in a way that really supports me, but then also supports the community and provides a landing space for my clients and for my students to be somewhere where they can come maybe when they're younger and maybe they miss a couple years. But we also do a lot of adult classes as well, and so I'm finding this kind of community of adult dancers who are either coming back home to dance, which is something that's pretty incredible, providing that platform, or I have some adult dancers who are coming and they have always wanted to dance and they've never had a chance, or it wasn't something their family could support or do. And so just really creating these opportunities for my students, my educators, my teachers that I'm building a team that I think is just building this landing place where people can come and learn and express and take risks and not be afraid, and just be in a really supportive environment where people can create their best self. Yeah.
And you know what this makes me think of? Haptic. It sounds like you're just trying to create a place where people can connect.
Yeah.
Be it physical
be
touch
touched.
or not. And I think that's really special. So, Awesome.
Thanks, Perry.
You're welcome. And I think that is all the time we have for our sit-down interview right now.
Awesome.
So thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
all that
I
insight.
appreciate it. Yeah.
And I cannot wait to get up on our feet and do some dancing.
Let's go.
So thank you so much for tuning in once
Thank
again.
you.
And I'm Perry. He's Clark, and you are
Claire Lint at Haptic Dance Arts.
Clark and Perry.
in the place.
Clark and Perry, do what it takes. Clark and Perry invite you to stay.
And explore the artistry in everything, live, on location alongside the Windy City's finest. Produced with the support of TELUS StoryHive, available on YouTube and TELUS Optic TV on demand for a limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.